Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to the channel. Today we are going through the tier list that I have designed for the heroes that are available within the Godforge Quests summoning pool. So far, I don't think I missed any. I have 33 here, and we're going to talk about them. I'm going to give you my opinion in terms of where they land as to what quality of hero they are for the sake of starting Godforge for the first time. And so, some of my answers might surprise you. We start off at the very beginning with Anubis. Now, Anubis inside of the Godforge Alpha was an absolutely incredible hero. He was one of the top wave clearers. He could nuke down an entire team, and we could get through an entire level of the tower with Anubis in seconds flat. However, and you're probably going to hear me say that word a lot, is that we're talking about starting a new game of Godforge. And that means that the heroes we have available to us, the gear we have available to us, and the weapons and imprints and everything like that are going to be far more minimal. Anubis, just in terms of power and what he can do, is a great hero. But when it comes down to him against the other choices here, I'm going to go ahead and throw him in the B tier. Next, we have Anu, and Anu is a great hero. I think Anu has some great abilities with his Phoenix that he does provide. He's the only hero in this entire squad that provides the Phoenix buff, which allows for like a resurrection after death. But even still with that, he is a good support hero, but not the best. Now, another challenge I do have for myself here in this tier list is that I don't want to just like put everyone inside of tier A or tier B or even the S tier. And so I'm going to be making decisions based off that as well, simply for the fact that not every hero can be A. We are comparing them to one another, not to the greater game, because all we know right now is the kits for these heroes. And that's where you're going to see some of my choices as well. Remember, A is still an incredible hero. B is still a great hero. C, if I put something in C, I would say probably not so great in terms of what I understand now, but even still, there's probably going to be some choices that you don't agree with. So where do I get it wrong? Let me know down in the comments below. Next up, we have Apollo. Now, if you watched my previous video, Now We Know, talking about all of the latest hero kits, you are going to probably expect that I'm going to actually grade him pretty low. A lot of the comments, a lot of the feedback on that video was that I was overlooking a lot of the heroes that were partner heroes just for the sake that they were partner. And frankly, community, you're absolutely right. I didn't give some of these heroes a good look. And when I looked deeper into Apollo and what he does and the ultimate he has that brings every other hero's core down one, he's an incredible hero. And he does something very unique that no other hero, especially in this pool, does. And so I actually am going to be putting Apollo in S tier. He is going to be great in some team comps as we move towards clan boss. And you're actually going to probably hear me say that a lot as well, because when I think about these games and where we're wanting to go, the clan boss is one of the first milestones in other games that we look to being able to maximize our progress in a game. And so by having a hero that is going to be cooling down the core abilities of everybody else is something that is going to be potentially amazing inside of a clan boss scenario. And so that's why I put him in S tier. Granted, he may not be the best hero you have on your account or the most critical hero you have on your account on day one, but as you move forward into the game, as you continue to unlock more heroes and summon more heroes, he is really going to create a synergy that so many players will be lacking when they don't have him. Next up, we do have his partner in crime, Artemis, who really just comes in with damage based off of being on the team with Apollo. And I don't see her as pivotal in this early game, in this scenario of this hero pool. And so with kind of just coming in with damage, single target damage, she does do some AoEs and she does gain divinity. I'm going to assume she's going to be gaining divinity very quickly. I would still put her in the B tier, and I would put her behind Anubis because Anubis brings some great control with him, while Artemis, while I am less familiar with her kit, she brings more so just damage. Next up, we have Ares, guys. We are flying through this. There are a lot of heroes to go through, and while some of you are going to enjoy the more podcast style video, I know it's not for everybody. So make sure, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Increase those engagement metrics for YouTube and the algorithm to continue to push this video forward. Y'all, I am less than 20 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers. That is an absolutely unbelievable milestone to be thinking about and having hit before being a content creator for a year. So guys, make sure and hit the subscribe button. Join my community, join this channel. I can't wait for early access, can't wait to do more. But back to what we're talking about here. Ares is, man, this guy, I think he's gonna be a lot of fun. He provides more crit damage to your team in his leader bonus. He decreases the defense of the enemy he is attacking, I believe by 2%, stacking up to 10 times. And he really is going to have some great synergies. He seems to be created primarily for arena, but with that decreased defense on his A1, that permanent decreased defense on his A1, it's not a debuff. It is an effect on the defense of the enemy. He is probably going to be used in a lot of other areas of the game, especially like clan boss and longer fights, to really maximize damage. With, however, the mindset of what is going to be available to us, what is going to be benefiting us in the early access of Godforge, and who we can really rely on to really unlock things on our account and support our team, I'm still going to be placing him in B tier. Now, I do place him before Artemis because of that permanent decrease of defense on his A1. And attacking through barrier and shield, that's also a huge benefit of him. I believe even like in Raid Shadow Legends, one of the Magic Affinity dungeon had a massive shield on the boss, and so being able to attack through that, all right, and even like removing that could be a clutch asset to have on your team, and he would be a great hero and a fun hero to have. If he was the only legendary I had, I would be happy with him. But I'm still putting him in the B tier. And you'll see as I continue to talk what kind of heroes are going to be in A, what kind of heroes are going to be in S. And once again, one of the heroes that everyone is hyping might be a little lower on the scale than you think I'll put him. We'll see. Let me know. Next, we have Athena, and I was sleeping on her kit for a while. She was she was the first one in the video. There was so much more in the video that Simon was talking about kits to think about, and I didn't really think about all that she could do. And the unfortunate thing here is, everyone, that we have differing information for a lot of these heroes. For the second half of the heroes that Simon gave, we got the full kits, but we didn't get perhaps what unlocks their ultimate, like how do they gain divinity, or how much divinity is required for their ultimate to be used. Whereas the first video, we only have their core and their ultimate, but the full in-game text of those skills as well. And so, guys, once again, this is a tier list of my own design. This is my opinion, and that doesn't make it the opinion that is true. Nor does it make it true going into it, because what Simon and other content creators and what you've heard myself say is that this is all subject to change. He's even talked about Izanami might potentially have her passive changed between now and early access. Keep all of that in mind, guys, when you're hearing me talk about all this. But Athena, man, she's going to be putting out a massive shield for your team. She is going to be increasing her damage based off of heroes being hit on a shield. And I believe it's her ultimate that's going to be receiving damage, or increased damage. And she is going to be potentially, we know from her imprint that her passive allows heroes under shield to petrify enemies that hit them. And so there's a chance of petrification when you hit a shield put out by Athena, and that is amazing control. She's going to be protecting your team with shields. She's going to be throwing out disables. An absolutely incredible champion. I'm going to be putting Athena near the very, very top of the A tier. So much more to come, guys. So let's keep going. Sizzin is an awesome and a fun damage dealer, in my opinion, putting out Blaze, putting out acids and activating them, and reducing healing if acid is on the target. I think Sizzin, as well as some of the synergies that we can find within imprints and weapons, is definitely an A tier hero. Dracula, however, is not. We know from the Fateless team that Dracula is a hero that they want to be incredible, and with his new kit, he might be incredible. But from the alpha, from everything that I'm seeing, I still struggle to see him as someone that I truly am going to be using to unlock some crazy content or some crazy combos in the early stages of the game. And once again, I will continue to say that this tier list is focused around not only the heroes that we have available to us, but how those heroes will impact us in the early game, or perhaps even the first 6 months of the game as we strive for progress. Dracula is going to be a great damage dealer for long-term fights, so putting out all those bleeds. We've seen that in Fafnir in Alpha, and so he will be great in Clan Boss, but even still, I think there are potentially other damage dealers that might be better in that regard. I could very well be wrong, but I'm going to be putting him in B tier with the all the bleeding, everything like that. I am going to be putting him above Artemis. I'm unsure what his new kit is going to feel like. I think it's better than what it was, but potentially I could definitely see that they could be tweaking it further. We'll see. Next up, we have Freya. And man, a lot of the community really loves her. I love her design. I think she's going to be a great hero. She is a great pick if that's who you find, but she is going to be increasing turn meter to be of one hero equaling to the highest turn meter of the enemy, and then boosting your entire team by 20% turn meter. So in a sense, taking on the highest turn meter of your team and then pushing them higher so that you can make sure that you are next in the turn order. She's going to be great. And she is also applying attack up and sharpen to your team and doing increased damage. She is going to be an enabler, going to be a great arena champion, going to be great in just waves and making sure that you're getting in front of the enemy. Absolutely incredible champion. She is definitely an A tier hero. Now, let me see here. Anu, I am actually going to be pushing a little bit to the back here, but let me know. As soon as I trigger your opinion, guys, I'm sure you're going to be leaving a comment. So next up, we have Fusion. Fusion, I actually received some comments on my last video that I completely was sleeping on his kit. I went back and I looked, and man, I see a lot of potential in his kit, especially like increasing barrier, taking buffs, applying them onto a boss. I think there's some great synergies there, absolutely. But even still, I don't see Fusion as being an incredible hero for early access, for the very beginning of the game. I think he will be a great hero if you get him in summons later on in the game and have some great fun potentials. I even was hearing potentially that this could be like a Wixwell-like setup if you have a bunch of other heroes to unlock that ability, but, well, maybe not a lot of heroes, but like 1 or 2 other heroes. Even still, set up that in the first couple of days, the first couple of weeks, maybe even the first couple of months, may not be where you want to focus. I'm putting him in B. Next up, we have Grendel, and this was a hero that was upgraded from Epic to Legendary just because of all they were doing, and I don't know. He's going in B. I don't really love him as a hero. He increases his HP just like Hercules does. He doesn't do it as much as Hercules, but the thing about him is that if his ultimate, hits an enemy below a certain HP threshold, they're immediately killed, and that's really cool. That's a lot of fun. But that's a lot of resources to maximize your damage and maximize that ability early on in the game that just isn't going to be doing anything in Clan Boss, isn't going to be doing anything necessarily in Dungeons because it has no effect on bosses, but it will help in waves, it will help in PvP, but even still, I don't see it as a great benefit to you at the very early onset of the game. I do put him above Artemis. I could very well, guys, I keep saying her kit, I might very well be sleeping on it. I am a new content creator. This is actually my first tier list, and it's challenging. It's actually very challenging to think through all these kits and think how they align with one another because they're all so different. Let me know, though, am I sleeping on Artemis? I was definitely sleeping on Apollo the first time I looked at his kit. I very much acknowledge that, but am I sleeping on Artemis? Let me know in the comments. Next, we have Hades, and this is my first C hero. Hades relies on curse to maximize his kit, and he only puts out one curse per turn on the enemy with the highest, I think, highest attack or something along those lines. And it just doesn't feel good in comparison to what it should be doing. At least when I think about a legendary hero and what some of these other legendary heroes are doing, Hades in his lore and mythology is such an incredible hero. And I would love to see more, I think, from this hero. I think he is doing a lot. I think there's some great abilities he has, some great debuffs. But even still, I don't believe those debuffs are guaranteed in his kit. And that just makes, man, like, especially looking at what is available here, what we don't even know about being available in the rest of the game and even in the epic kits. But there were heroes that had a 100% chance of placing decreased defense on a core ability inside of the alpha that weren't even epics. Like, there were rares that were doing that. It might be single target or things that weren't necessarily guaranteed on all enemies, but it was still better than a percentage chance. And so when I'm looking at a legendary hero, looking at an ultimate that is like, oh, well, you have an 80% chance or a 60% chance or 35% chance on 3 hits. Sure, that 35% times 3 gets you up to like almost like 75% based off of the math. But even still, that's not a guarantee. And if I have a legendary that I'm using all of my resources in to maximize and level up and awaken and increase their skills and all these things, like, you're telling me that I don't have the guarantee, at least the affinity related guarantee, to place a debuff? It just doesn't land well for me right now. And I know, especially as this game grows and as the power levels increase and we see power creep, there are going to be heroes that are going to have that guarantee, or at least that 100% chance, I should say. Guarantee is a whole different thing in this genre. And so these heroes right now that we see, we could potentially be seeing them buffed up as the game power and the level of the game and how the heroes are designed increases, because some of these guys just aren't going to be performing like even some of their counterparts right now. So Hades, because he does not have as much curse in him as I feel like he should, I do put him in C. I don't believe he is a great hero for early access for the very beginning of the game. We could be totally wrong on this. I think this is a pretty actually popular opinion amongst content creators in terms of how powerful Hades is. He could be different. We could be missing something. But I mean, I will say he's probably pretty great in Arena. If you can build him fast enough with enough accuracy, he could really unlock some potentials there. But Arena is not day 1, nor even week 1, month 1, like anything like that where you're focusing your attention. You're trying to, conquer the areas of the game instead. So next up, guys, is Heimdall. And man, oh man, is there anything I can say, right? Intercept, retaliate, shield, protect, all of these things. Incredible buffs, incredible synergies with some weapons and some imprints. I mean, we've seen his awakenings. We've seen how powerful he can become. I mean, if they don't change it from alpha, a fully awakened Heimdall, which granted is 5 additional copies of Heimdall, so that is not early access, that is not within the first couple of months or anything like that. But I mean, we don't know the potential of so many of these heroes, but we know that Heimdall's A5 enables his ability to kick off at the beginning of every single wave. Just busted good champion. He is my pick. He is the one I have locked in on my primary account in Godforge Quests, and he is an absolute game-changing support. And I'm using him and choosing him because he is support, because of that counterattack, because of the shield he provides and all of those aspects to his kit. He is a tank and someone who is going to be able to support my entire team very easily. Incredible champion. Top of the charts, S tier. Next up, we have Hel, and I really struggle with her placement. I like Hel because of my experience with her in the alpha. I think she was incredible, unlocking her full abilities, but she is kind of weird and she is pretty niche. She resurrects dead enemies with 10% health, and that's just kind of odd. But her attack is increased, her damage is increased when she does that. She is a great hero, and she's going to be a very niche hero. She's going to fit in areas of the game that we don't know about yet. I am going to be putting her in B tier because she does do some great damage. She does have some great AoEs, and because she puts a decreased defense 2 on bosses. And frankly, there's not a whole lot of decreased defense in this squad of heroes. Granted, there's going to be all kinds of other heroes in the total of over 200, I think like 220 plus, a couple and change. There's going to be decreased defense, but she does give that debuff to bosses, which at least in the alpha was a great benefit. I am going to be putting her up here at the top, and because of that decreased defense on bosses, I am going to put her above Anubis, because she is going to potentially increase the damage for your entire team, which is a huge benefit. Next up, we have Hercules. He also is going to be going in B tier. Now, I can definitely hear this is probably going to be one of, up to this point, I could be surprised. I'll know when I start reading the comments. But I feel like this is potentially going to be a point of contention. And I'll tell you right now, he's top of the B tier because A tier, as we progress on, we still have a lot of heroes up. A tier is going to fill up. And with my own challenge of making sure that one tier didn't have more, in fact, I'll be honest, like, I didn't want a single tier to go past one line. It was just a little side challenge of my own when I was creating this tier list, kind of restriction I wanted to put on myself so I could be, hard on some of my choices. And so Hercules went down to B. Now, granted, he is a great hero. He does provide stun. He provides acid as well on his primary attack. And he is going to be able to do great damage on long fights because of that acid, but there's also acid on lots of others. I would say Sizzin is potentially a better choice for acid because he also brings blaze. He does bring stun for 1 turn, even 2 turns if he has immortal on himself, but that requires, I believe, 12 uses of his ultimate to even get there. And so he is going to be focusing around longer fights. But once you're in those longer fights, you're no longer facing waves. There might be some great benefits in longer fights for some dungeons. He is, however, a great wave clear, just like Anubis is. His first attack, his primary attack, does attack all enemies, placing acid. And so there's a lot of great things you can do with him. But he is also a brawler, and brawlers can be a little bit more intensive when it comes to the build and the gear that's needed because they're more focused around HP, but also this guy potentially needs accuracy as well. And so you're not even going to be maximizing his damage or maximizing his ability to place acids early on just because of those gear requirements. Great hero, incredible for your account in the long run of the game, and probably even in like the first 3 to 6 months, like after 3 months or something, like he would be a great pull at any time. But for this purpose, in this hero list, and what he provides versus what others provide, I place him in B. Next up is Isis. I'm going to be placing her in S tier. Now, you'll notice that I am putting her after Apollo, which there is a lot to be said for a hero that brings both mend and a revive. There's only a couple of heroes in this grouping that bring revive. There's going to be more in early access, but we don't know of them yet. And with the mend on the A1 and bringing shield, she's a great support. But none of those things are unique to her alone. And so while as a support hero and what she is doing to your team and keeping them alive and bringing them back to life is going to be an incredible S tier hero, I'm not putting her above Apollo simply because she is a culmination of a lot of abilities that are great together but are not unique unto themselves. She does bring back, I believe, with 50% HP and 50% turn meter, which is better than other revivers because it's also your whole team. And so she is being up here as opposed to some others that you'll see here in a little bit. And so in comparison to some of the other revivers that you're going to be seeing, I do place her higher because of what your allies come back with. Next up, y'all, we have a dynamic duo, Izanagi and Izanami. I undersold Izanagi entirely when it came to my last video, and again, called out he is going to be an incredible hero. He is going up in S tier after Apollo. He is going to be enabling divinity growth. He is going to make sure that your team is synergizing and gaining power and getting back to their abilities faster with their divinity, and going to absolutely blow away some parts of the game. He's going to be a great support, creating some great synergies for your team. Absolutely incredible hero. I glazed over him in my last video because I just saw that pairing with Izanami, and I was like, okay, you know, it's only one of two. You don't need them. You know, there's other great heroes, but man, a second look, a true look at his skills really showed how different and unique he is, and he's going to be bringing some great things. And whether you have an incredible like S tier team or even just like an early access team, he's going to be pushing that divinity up on your heroes, decreasing the requirements of their ultimates, and just enabling your team for success. His sister wife, Izanami, is going to be a great hero as well. Not nearly as amazing in my personal opinion. I am going to be putting her in A tier. She's going to be providing some great things for your team, kind of the counterpoint of Izanagi in terms of putting initiative down, speed down, which speed down across the entire enemy team is going to be great. She's going to be a great hero in making sure and slowing down the enemy team, making sure they don't get their divinity, don't get to their turns, all of these things that will really empower your team to just push ahead. So a great champion, but not necessarily as unique as Izanagi. Now we go to Lamashtu, and as many of you know, I have talked about Lamashtu several times. I have said, you know, even without knowing her kit, I'd probably pick her if I got her on my alt account. And now knowing her kit, whew, she is going to be so much fun. However, she is primarily just outputting damage in AoE areas. She doesn't necessarily bring as much to the table as like Sizzin does when it comes to dots, damage over time abilities. She does have an acid, a chance to place acid, but it's not as reliable as Sizzin. And so I'm going to put her kind of at the back end of A tier. I think that her abilities and what she's going to be doing are going to be very niche. There's going to be very specific areas of the game that she really shines in, and if you have her, you're going to blow those areas of the game away. But with placing vulnerable and acid, she is a great hero still, going to be having some great synergies for your team and going to be doing all kinds of silly things when it comes to the like minions that she's summoning to explode and do damage on soul eruption, and enabling her AoEs with her primary attack. Going to be a great hero. Next up, we have Loki, who once again is somebody that just isn't landing as well as the developers and the game designers want to. I will be putting Loki in the C tier. He places sleep. He further adds turn count to sleep if they're already asleep. But they've really just reworked his kit, and I still don't think it necessarily lands, and I don't think he is going to be that early access game breaking champion that's going to really enable your team. So C tier. Next up, we have Metzli, and she is a reviver. She is going to be doing some great things with cleansing as well. I am going to be putting her up in the A tier because of revive. There's just not much going around. She does bring less turn meter and HP back to your heroes, but she also recovers destroyed HP, which makes me think there are going to be a boss or two in the game that is going to be destroying HP on your heroes, and so she's going to be great, but simply because she is bringing a revive, she is going in A tier. She's not as good as Isis is, but she is good, so I'm putting her there. Morgan Le Fay is next up, and I have gone back and forth on her where she goes. I am going to land her towards the front end of A tier because she's putting out so many damage over time effects. She's even including Aether Burn in that, but Blaze, Acid, Aether Burn, I know there's one more. I can't remember off the top of my head. But her downside is that she absorbs all of those dots and maximizes her damage and her healing and all these kinds of things with those debuffs. I think if we have team setups where we can turn abilities off, I think she's going to be doing great things in like longer fights with all the damage over time she's applying. But there are so many things going on with her kit that it's going to be very interesting to use her if there's no team setups or anything like that inside of Godforge that are going to enable us to make choices in the auto battles. She's going to be a great hero. She's going to be doing some great things, putting out a lot of damage, whether it's over her dots or her actual ultimates, but not necessarily somebody who is going to be S tier. Really great champion though. And I mean, I hope to get her eventually, summon her, because she just sounds like a lot of fun. Next up, we have Mulan, and she is going to be enabling herself to do more and more damage. I think she is going to be a great damage dealer, but I don't think she is going to necessarily go as hard into damaging. But I don't think she's going to be necessarily doing as much or bringing as much as some other heroes. And so I do put her in C tier. I don't necessarily find a lot of value in her right now, but if there's something that I'm missing in her kit, let me know. Pazuzu, I'm going to be putting at the back end of A. He seems like he's going to be bringing a lot of debuffs, a lot of things that are going to enable your team to do more damage, to maximize the rest of your team. He's going to be good. Anybody who's putting out as many debuffs as he does, even though it's not 100% chance of that, which is why he goes towards the back end of A, I think he's going to be good. I think potentially you could put him in the top of B and maybe move Hercules up to A. I think these two are kind of like, they're right there and where I'm seeing their value. I could potentially even see this as being really the exchange here, but let me know what you think down in the comments. Perun is going to be a great champion. He brings lots and lots of turn meter control, which we haven't seen in many of these heroes. I am going to be placing him in A specifically, and this is going to be my first jump but I put him as low as I do because Sun Wukong, I believe, is better. Because Sun Wukong's damage decreases on multi-hits. Both of these heroes hit many times. I think Sun Wukong is 8 and Perun is 7. They do multi-hits at random. And on bosses, that means they're only going to hit the boss. While Sun Wukong's damage decreases on multi-hits, Perun's turn meter control decreases on multi-hits. And so I would rather maintain turn meter control than the damage for this kind of hero. I think other players may choose differently, as Sun Wukong will self-buff as well, and so his damage is going to be great. And so there is a little bit of a trade-off there in terms of what you want from this type of hero. But as for myself, especially knowing what Sun Wukong is bringing in with his passive, based off of his imprint, he is going to be a great hero. And I place him here in A because he is going to be doing turn meter control, but he's not necessarily enabling your team as much as other heroes here. And so he's going to be a great asset. I would actually potentially put him in front of Izanami, but incredible champion all to say. Both of them are going to be great, but I do place Sun Wukong relatively higher. Quetzalcoatl is... he's Quetzalcoatl. We saw him in the alpha. He's a great enabler. People either love him or they just don't care about him. And I think it's more off of like vibe than anything else, because frankly, he is doing so much on your team. He is by far a massive S tier hero. And I think just generally you can trade him off between Isis on what he's doing. He does bring a revive, but it's conditional, and I believe it's on his death. And so it's a one-time revive, but he is bringing attack up, speed up, I believe sharpen to your team, so many things to enable them and increase their strong hits, and to do all kinds of things on his primary attack. He is on strong hits. He has a chance to petrify the enemy. He is an absolute beast of a hero, and he has a leader bonus of increased speed. At least that's what we saw in the alpha. Incredible hero. I am going to leave him here. I want to kind of push him forward the more I talk about him, but he is just absolutely bonkers good when you think about all he's doing for your team. Terrible on damage, but oh yeah, it not only a chance to petrify, but he also heals your team on his primary attack. Absolutely incredible hero. So good in every single way. Next up, we have Ra. He has been changed as well, but man, C tier. He has a chance of placing decreased defense on his ultimate, and I'm sorry, but if there is an ultimate, this is a legendary hero, and there's only a chance of placing decreased defense on an ultimate, that just, I don't know, that doesn't sit well with me today. right now as I'm thinking about it. In the context of hero collectors and other games, I want that decreased defense to be guaranteed. Not guaranteed, but at least have a 100% chance of landing. Next up, we have the partner of fusion, which is Raijin, and I think that he will be a good hero. I don't think he's a great hero for early access. There seems to be some good synergy between the two, and he is going to be providing some great benefits to your team. But I think there's a little bit more like team synergies that are needed to really unlock him. So I'm putting him in B tier for now. Svarog is going to be a great defender. He's going to be a great support for your team. He's bringing in a lot of great benefits to protect and shield your team. I will be placing him at the end of S tier because he's not doing all the things that Heimdall does. And as you think through like all that's here, he is great. He is the wielder of Forge Fire, which is one of the top tier weapons in the game. But just because Forge Fire is one of the best doesn't necessarily mean that those abilities of Forge Fire in his kit. He is great. I put him in S tier. Definitely a winner if you get him. Shamash, we know from the alpha, is a great hero. I put him as well in S tier with the activation of his core ability if an enemy dies, with the ally attack, with the buffs he brings, the Aether Burn as well, debuff that he brings. Absolutely incredible champion to help your team out. He is an S tier champion. His kit is very unique, even though he is incorporating aspects of abilities like revive and buffs and debuffs that other heroes have. The combination and how he is using those things is really unique, and as we've seen in alpha, really enables a great team. Now you see this one here. I'm gonna wait for a second. Yan Wang I'm going to put in C tier. I don't necessarily understand his kit. He brings a lot of debuffs. He's going to be maximizing your team, but again, he has a chance of placing. Doesn't sit well. Not a great early access hero from my pick. I put him in C tier. And then last but not least, y'all, is Vivian. And a lot of players will put her here. Could potentially even put her here. But I'm going to drop her all the way down behind Isis. Now, I thought long and hard about this. And frankly, talking about her and then talking about Quetzalcoatl, and how excited I was talking about Quetzalcoatl, I'm actually going to drop her down even one more. But why do I do this? I can hear the comments already being typed out. Why do I place her here? Remember, this is still an S tier hero. But why are so many heroes better than her? She's the only hero in this pool to apply attack up and defense up to your entire team. And then also increases the duration of all buffs. And so she's going to be doing so much to enable your team. Now her core does have a high turn count, 6 turns, that we could potentially see booked down to 4. Several heroes that we know of from the second video do have a 6 down to a 4 turn cooldown. And that does make that ability a lot more accessible, but at the early stages of the game, you are so rarely going to see this ability, and you're going to be manualing so often just to make sure that you're saving that ability for later on. And it's great, and it's incredible, and it's going to be good for long fights, but until you have the resources to book that down, it's just going to be missing the mark. Because you're not going to get as much as you want. You're going to not be getting it when you need it. And you're going to have to manual to make sure, or have some kind of setup to make sure that you actually have it when you need it. It's going to be a great ability. That paired with her ultimate, which cleanses disables, which is of benefit, but not as great as cleansing debuffs, which she only does to Avalon heroes. She then joins allies in attack, and if the enemy is defeated, then pushes the turn meter of the entire team up. It's an incredible ability, but her ultimate requirement is 1,650. I believe she starts with 250, and the way she gains ultimate is by placing buffs on your allies. We don't know what her primary attack is, and I would hope that her primary attack does place some kind of buff on your heroes, because if we're waiting 6 turns to apply 2 buffs to every hero on your team, that is just simply going to be taking a long time to get the divinity up she needs. She'll need initiative up. She'll need other heroes that are increasing divinity naturally. She'll need these things to be able to unlock her true synergies. And so I believe that scrolls and, maximizing, increasing, upgrading her skills are going to be pivotal for her. We don't know her awakenings. I think they're probably going to be amazing. But the more and more I've thought about her and how accessible her abilities are going to be and how quickly we're going to be getting them, the further down in the S tier category I kept putting her. She's a great hero, don't get me wrong, but I actually would not place her in the top 3. And frankly, now that I'm looking at this and now that I'm seeing everything that I put, my top 3 is not at all what I anticipated when I first started in on this project. This is where I place the 33 heroes that we have in Godforge Quests. This is my opinion. It's all subject to change based on what Fateless has done, but there are going to be some great heroes out there. And I think any of these heroes are going to be fun or great to have on your account. Make sure and like and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments what you think about this tier list. I read every comment, I respond to all that I can, and so I look forward to having that conversation with you guys. It's been a long video. Thanks for all who have stuck around for this long, and I can't wait for what is next for the Godforge community. I'll see you in the next one.